Hey interweb trawlers, welcome to Tristo's Crappy Woodworking Adventures. I shot an intro for this video yesterday and since then two things have happened. Firstly, I realised it just wasn't very good, like kinda awful. Secondly, I've been roaming the internet as you do and I keep getting served ads plastered with buzzwords like amazing or ultimate or like superfly, this, that or the other, which is obviously just clickbait garbage, and I don't know about you guys, but it's actually just starting to get pretty annoying. So let's get real here for a second. I built this workbench. Honestly, it's a bit of a piece of junk. It was badly designed, poorly executed, and the finish is way below par. Nevertheless, it's already proving to be pretty useful, and watching myself struggle through the process of butchering it into existence is actually pretty entertaining. So if you're up for it, stick around and watch the mess unfold, and you never know, we might learn something. Cut. Alrighty, right. First thing we're gonna do is break down some of this cheap framing timber I got from Home Depot. That means we get to go outside. Better not forget my saw. This also seems like a good chance to get fancy, so I'll just quickly swap over to a model here so we can see what's going on. The base is basically made up of 7 pieces of milled down 2x4 joined with lap joints, which was a huge error as it turns out. And then a piece of 3/4 ply on top of that with some dados and rabbets to hold the middle dividers, and then 4 legs that I will inevitably cut wrong and mix up. You know, weirdly enough, I've only been doing it for about 3 minutes, but one of my favourite things about woodworking so far is taking a piece of crap timber and turning it into something that's straight and square and nice and flat. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty fun. Especially when the process involves opening the fridge because you don't have enough room. Here I'm just clamping the timber together and using a chop saw to cut it to length. I'm sure there's probably room for a fancy transition or a zoom or a slow-mo here. Oh yep, there it is. I'm just marking out some joinery in the base parts, and it doesn't need to be that critical, so the track saw is perfect for this. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and tight. If it doesn't quite fit, just hammer it in. Instead of buying new timber, I figure I can just make the legs out of some laminated old bits of 2x4. So here I'll just joint one face and get them ready for a bit of glue. I reckon I've used a jointer maybe twice in my entire life, and man, they are so cool. It's just the coolest machine ever. This one that I've got is actually a jointer planer combination, so it's a bit of a hassle to change it over into planer mode, but honestly it takes about 20 seconds, and yeah, you save heaps of space. To cut the tapers on the legs, I decided a really dodgy table saw sled would be the way to go. Obviously it would be better if I had it clamped onto the jig somehow, instead of just freehanding it, but I don't know, it worked alright. This is about the time when a critical lack of organisation means that I'm going to mix all of the legs up. I actually cut the joinery backwards on 3 out of 4 of the legs, I believe, from memory. If we swap back to the model for a second, you can see what I'm planning to do here with the vertical dividers. These are intended to hold shelving and drawers, and they're just slotting into dados on the base. Accuracy elixir. It occurred to me last night while I was in here that I've actually designed and partially built potentially the world's biggest piece of shit. I'm gonna persevere anyway as a learning experience, and it might actually turn out to be useful. But yeah, it just sucks. The disappointment is clear. Nothing quite like getting halfway through the process and realizing what you're making is inevitably gonna be a bit of a piece of junk. Oh, that fits pretty good. So yeah, the new outfit table's a real mess. It's looking like it's only going to be slightly better than my old one, which, as you can see, is a real work of art. One thing I learned a long time ago was that if something doesn't quite fit, just give it a kick. Just to add to the comedy of errors, I've discovered yet another fuck up. Does this look even to anyone? Check the measurements, and apparently I think a 2 is a 7, so. You can tell by the squeals of pain coming from the router here that I'm taking way too deep a pass. One of the unfortunate side effects of stuffing up the legs was that everything that had to... Oh, watch your fingers, mate. Everything that went inside something else ended up being the wrong size, so it had to be adjusted on an individual basis, which is annoying. Oh, look at those overalls. Clearly I need to be either a better painter or get some new pants. I decided to add some corner braces here to add a bit of strength and to try and square up some of the dodgy ply, and also give me something to fix the top too. Watching these things haul the cabinets back into square as I clamped them was pretty great, but as you'll see later on, it wasn't anywhere near enough. Despite my earlier despair, I'm actually a little surprised by how well things are working out. The joinery is terrible, but it's going to be pretty functional, which is like half the battle. Today you're going to get the top on, Gonna cut and build drawers and maybe even get the drawers mounted by the end of the day. Though given that it is 9:30 a.m. and I only just had breakfast, we'll see. Sorted set of Allen keys. I'm doing something right here, which is that I've measured what my actual openings are in my cabinets and then making my drawer boxes to suit. Unfortunately, I misread something that I wrote down and ended up making the drawer boxes all the wrong size. So now we're going to turn this mess into a bunch of perfectly sized drawer parts. Oh, what a mess of misplaced optimism. Of course, all these drawer boxes could have just been assembled with glue and nails or screws, but I thought I might practice some techniques I'd never done before and cut some rabbits in with a dado blade. Really, the idea here was just to help me line things up while I was nailing it together. And nobody really likes breaking down plywood, so I thought instead of cutting it, I might just employ the old magic finger method here. And same sort of dealio here. Nobody really wants to spend hours nailing together drawer boxes, so why bother when you can just clap your hands? Fuck it. Let's go then, puppies. Alright. Honesty time, I just tried to test one of the drawers and I forgot to allow for the drawer runners. Well, actually, more truthfully, I remembered to allow for the drawer runners, but I made them from the wrong measurement. Remember this for next time. Check your work. It's not going to be too bad. I'm just going to run all of the drawer boxes through the table saw and slot some pieces in and keep going like it never happened. I won't go into too much detail about the absolute mess that ensued here, but needless to say, there were so many things that I did wrong. Through the movie magic of cinema, I can make this look like it happens really quickly and easily, but the reality of the situation is it was an absolute struggle, and I wasn't...
It still isn't.
Entirely sure where it was in the process that everything started going so very, very horribly wrong. I think it was a combination of inaccuracy, poor choice of materials, and just generally being a kook.
Yeah, you're a kook.
Okay, well that's done and learned. Never use shitty plywood and expect a good outcome. I don't know. I feel like I've been in here for hours. I have, actually. Daddy? years. Years even. Next up on the agenda is temporarily tacking the drawer fronts on, which worked out alright. Unfortunately, the crappy design that I came up with for this table had absolutely no lateral strength, so you can see here that I'm using a ratchet strap to try and pull it back into square. Screw the drawer fronts on, throw a bit of paint at it. Oh man, that's looking good. Painting's great, you get such good bang for your buck. We can probably cut to a close-up here soon. Oh yeah, there it is. This offset drawer hardware is one of my greatest victories on this job. Honestly, it's the only part about the whole thing that looks any good. Whoop. In the interests of keeping things fancy and almost as an afterthought, I put some adhesive back to edge banding on just to disguise the cut edges of the ply. That fancy transition's about the only good thing about these miter slot adjustments. The other day I built a crosscut sled and had to extend them both by about a foot. I don't really know what these things are supposed to do, but I've seen people do it. I guess it's for clamping things. Thought it would be cool. After a few months of having blades stashed on the bench top, it felt pretty good to hang them up somewhere. So if you feel thusly inclined, go ahead and caress those like and subscribe buttons. Hit me up with some inflammatory comments, and I'll see you on the next one.